G'day people, this is the third video in this series on this detour down at Burswood Park, and hopefully this will be the last one before the path opens. And what we're looking at here is the condition of the detour. Now on Wednesday and Thursday I sent videos of the state of this detour off to the Burswood Park board, and on Thursday morning I actually got a voicemail bright and early from someone saying their contractor was going to be working on it. So I came down on Friday morning, a bit after 6, before work had started, to have a look at what's happened. And yeah, so there's still a little bit of loose sand there, but they'd actually taken up my suggestion and put down some of this sandstone mix and rolled it to make quite a hard surface. Now look, that's not concrete by any stretch of the imagination, but as a temporary path through that sandy patch, it's pretty darn good. Now obviously there's still some sandy patches there, and they've got some temporary metal covers over them, but I think over the next couple of minutes we'll see quite a few people cycle and scooter through here, and I've got to say it's a massive improvement. Now I just wish they'd done that right at the very beginning rather than waiting for me to send in some video of people struggling through there or being completely unable to get through there because they're in a hand cycle. You know, a point I made was how are you supposed to dismount from a hand cycle and push if you don't have any use of your legs? It's kind of a small problem with people with disabilities, isn't it? Anyway, I think we can see, those cyclists are getting through without any problems. Now, why was this not picked up on? Because all I had to do was just go down here with my camera and stand there for 10 minutes and just watch, just observe what people were doing, have a look at their difficulties, see the variety of cyclists going through and their different skill levels, and it was pretty clear there were problems. Now, one thing they're still lacking is a chute to funnel people to where they need to go, and I've taken this, just showing this as an example of how a chute was created here at this race to make it really, really obvious for where people are supposed to go, because what I saw was people who were doing this for the first time still being confused, and I asked a few people and they said, yeah, my first time, I don't know where to go. And I actually had to stand there as a traffic controller almost and point people where to go. So we can still see there are a few people pushing through. That might be just because they're got skinny tires and a bit uncertain on this kind of sandy, grassy surface, and they just don't want to risk slipping over, or who knows what. But I did see a number of people pushing through, and that person I actually rode through, did a U-turn and came back, and they were still pushing, which kind of gives you an idea of why people ride through, because we're all impatient. No one wants to take 2 or 3 minutes to push when you can ride through in 15 or 20 seconds. It's just human nature. No one likes stopping at traffic lights or stop signs or standing in queues or anything like that. Anything which delays us annoys us. So people are by nature going to take shortcuts, so you should take that into account. It's like desire lines. You put down paths where people want to ride rather than where you think they should ride. Now, just getting back to this observation thing, you can see what I've done here. I've just ridden back and forth a number of times, just checking it out. Are there still any boggy patches? Is that new tamp down path working properly? Are those arrows that they've painted on the path there with some marker paint clearly visible? Are people following them? So, I think people who are setting up these detours just need to get into this mindset. Yeah, okay, go and create the detour, great, then go and test it. Go and check it out for yourself. Can you ride through comfortably? Do you miss the detour like that bloke? So, yeah, again, a couple of people coming through here this morning for whatever reason did not go through this detour. And I mean, also one problem, that lady dismounting in front of me at the last minute could have caused a crash with me going into the back of it because I wasn't expecting it. So you can see this bloke rode down to the fence. I followed him just to see what happened. I did call out to him to say, mate, it's closed, but he had his earbuds in, obviously didn't hear me. That lady as well, I called out to her and said there's no detour, but I don't know if it was another case of earbuds or what, but yeah, she didn't get the message either. I probably should have stopped in front of her and said, stop, you can't go through there. But, again, this comes back to this issue of creating a really clear chute to guide people through. There should be absolutely no confusion about where to go. Now, you might have noticed that I happily rode through that sandy patch on and off the path, but that's because I've got a mountain bike and I'm used to riding through sand, and I've practiced it. And I'm not going to say I'm good at it because I've still had some quite spectacular crashes. But for people that aren't used to riding on it and don't have a mountain bike, yeah, there's a pretty solid risk of coming to grief there, as we saw on Thursday. So, we'll just watch these people coming through. You'll notice they come through at different speeds. Some people really put the hammer down and rip through it, which is actually not a bad idea because you kind of float over all the junk. It's better to power through it than to crawl through it. You can see, he just lost a bit of traction there and in the sandy stuff. I don't know why he went around the detour. I told him to go through the chute and he ignored me. Maybe didn't hear. I have no idea, but you can see obviously from that bit of sand spurting up at the back what happens when you go through the boggy stuff and you've got narrow tires. So this guy going through very slowly, very gingerly, compared to others that are just tonking through quite a bit faster. And yeah, I know people will go, oh, they shouldn't be going fast. It's actually easier if you go fast. You're not going to sink down into the stuff. You just zoom over the top. So a detour like this needs to be, if you're going to have boggy sections, you've got to keep in mind that cyclists are going to want to go fast through it to get through it. Otherwise, they're going to stop and potentially stop unexpectedly, and that's when crashes happen, either because they lose momentum and fall over, or someone coming up behind them plows into them because they've slowed down quite suddenly. Again, the difference in, types of cyclists. I mean, you can see there, she's not dressed in lycra, she doesn't have clip-in pedals and all that stuff. What you'd call a normal person on a bike, just tonking along slowly. So these things need to be set up for all sorts of people, including, electric scooter riders who, these things don't have large wheels, they don't have particularly wide wheels. You need to take that into account. So, there's not just a single type of bike or a single type of rider going through here. You need to account for the whole spectrum, different ages, different abilities, different fitness levels, different strength, all that kind of stuff. So we'll just go out of here. These barriers that have been put up, yeah, it's a good start on creating a chute. But obviously it's still not working. Now, given this detour should be over and done with in a couple of days, I don't think it's the end of the world. But the good thing today, I didn't see any, people with disabilities struggling, and I didn't see any crashes. So I've got to say to the board, yeah, that's a massive improvement. But if you ever do it again, please, put down a proper detour at the start and go out and inspect it and test it, and then observe what happens on the first day. See what the users are doing and make adjustments as required.